Greetings, Pathfinders! I'm your host, Dustin Knight, and welcome to Infiknight Reviews. Tonight, the latest and greatest Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite reviews are being hosted live on the official Paizo Twitch channel. We're reviewing tons of amazing content by the Gremlin brothers, authors of the End of Days campaign that you could find right now on Pathfinder Infinite at pathfinderinfinite.com. First, I do need to clarify that all views on this show are my own and have not been reviewed or endorsed by Paizo or any of the creators highlighted on the show. I have received review copies of this product I am reviewing tonight, but my ongoing goal is always to showcase and review as many products on Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite as possible. If you have any requests of any products you know of that I have yet to give a thorough review, please feel free to contact me on social media or shout out right here in chat. So with that out of the way, is everyone ready to start the show? All right, let's go. The End of Days is a full 20-part mega campaign for Pathfinder 2nd Edition being sold exclusively on Pathfinder Infinite. The full product line includes the Player's Guide, Game Master's Guide, Siege of Castle Savinoy, Dark Days at Castle Savinoy, The Great Escape, Pre-Generated Characters, Beasts of Yore, The Crown Tavern bonus map, and Lost Arcana item cards. But before we begin, I will point out that only the first part of this review will be spoiler-free. Once we go into the actual adventure books, in case you're thinking of playing and not running this adventure, I will be putting up this spoiler warning on screen, indicating that the discussion is meant for GMs who are looking to possibly run this adventure. But that won't be for a while, so let's just go ahead and get rid of that. That being said, the first thing that I want everyone to understand is that these products are not simply for people looking to run or even play the 20-level adventure. Each of these products can be easily adapted and used in an existing campaign, for character creation, or even for as one-shots for adventures that that you don't even feel like continuing afterwards. In fact, many of these adventures include suggestions as to how to incorporate them into an existing campaign, or how to play off them to continue the campaign in another route in case your players have decided to go in a completely different direction. In addition, there are some amazing accessories, including maps and cards that come with this product, and that's actually kind of where I want to start here. So let me click here, because these maps, I gotta tell you. So the first thing you'll notice is with these adventures, you actually get a hold of these gorgeous animated VTT maps, I believe created by Ebob Enriquez. They come with these great animated features like water and trees. You could even hear, I'll see if I could get... Yes, you could even hear the sounds of battle during the castle siege, and occasional arrow whizzing by and people charging. Of course, if it's VTT, you can always disable the sound if your players do find that distracting, but frankly, I love it. I'm definitely going to go ahead and use those. I'm going to find a chance to use these in one of my games. Whether or not I run End of Days or just throw this into my existing campaign, I have to find a use for this. The map is just absolutely beautiful. It comes gridded and ungridded. You could also purchase these separately if you want the nighttime maps and a few little extra accessories, but they do come along with Chapter 1, The Siege of Castle Savinoy, and they're absolutely great. In addition to the animated maps, you'll also get 12 static maps with a ton of extra variations for night, day, with and without a grid. Let me get those up here. Wham. So there's all these static maps. They have them like sometimes with or without the ceilings, some indoors, some outdoors. We got some graveyards. We got some that tell you C7, C6, which rooms are which for the GMs. They also have static versions of the animated maps. In addition, they have these really cool screenshots. I never thought of seeing these. I've never even considered seeing this in an adventure before, and this is such a cool element to include here. These screenshots are meant to, there's about between 25 and 36 in each chapter, I believe. They, you could throw them up when you're in exploration mode, or telling your box text to give that much more immersion to your players. Here's one of the several catacomb sections. They're all labeled based in what room that they occupy. Here's the Crown Tavern. I believe this screenshot is also in the Crown Tavern product, in addition to, I believe, maybe Chapter 2. And I really love that inclusion. I think that's really nifty. I just think that's really cool. I've had GMs in PFS take wallpapers off Google and kind of throw them up during exploration mode to give us that kind of immersion. You're on a coast. Here's a picture of a coast. But because they're just taking them like from other sources, they tend to have dramatically different art styles, and that makes things get a little clunky. I love that these are all using this really nice 3D render art style. It all matches up just beautifully, and it adds a whole extra layer of immersion that I was not expecting. When I downloaded this, I was not expecting all these cool extras in here like this. But the most important map that you're going to get, especially if you're playing this campaign, is the map of Senserev. I'm going a little into this campaign, and this map appears in both the player's guide and the GM guide, so there's no spoilers here, don't worry about it. The campaign takes place in Senserev, a small river kingdoms kind of nestled between Daggermark, the Echo Woods, toward the northern part of the river kingdoms. The player's guide and GM guide both go into great detail into all these different locales, these different villages and locales throughout this kingdom. It has a full 2-page spread on all these, including the area of the 2 different nobles and which lands they control in this kingdom. It really helps getting totally invested in this little place that your characters are starting in, as this adventure does get to be set in Galarian, being that this is a Pathfinder Infinite product. The guide also, here, let me throw that up real quick. There we have it. Ooh, so the player's guide. First place you're probably going to start looking is this player's guide. For those who have never played an official Paizo AP, player's guides help give players some intro to the campaign while being carefully crafted to both hint at what's coming without spoiling it. They're really cool. Really, I love these accessories. I try making them for my own campaigns now to mix success. But this one, it gets the job done just beautifully. It go ahead and tell you, like, probably shouldn't play an evil character in this campaign. These are all the areas in Senserev you might be from. This is what the culture is like here, what the different locals are like here. There's examples here for each of the classes where what your background might be, why you might be in this town here in Senserev, in this castle town in Senserev, if you're a member of this class, which frankly, even if you don't want to play one of these classes, you should read all these because it gives you that much more insight into the city, into the castle town and the region as a whole. There's also those kinds of insights into each of the core ancestries, in addition to some unique heritages that are kind of cool. And the thing that you need to note with these guides is a lot of these heritages, a lot of these special backgrounds, in case you want to be from this castle that you start in, Castle Savinoy, give you some hints as to what might come later in adventure. So as you're reading these, you'll see like engineering lore comes up at least twice, and you'll go, well, I don't want to take that background, but we probably have someone in the party with engineering lore. I think it's fairly obvious that's going to come up at least once. They're not going to give you a lore skill that you're never going to see in the campaign in a campaign-specific background. I do also want to point out some of these backgrounds are really, really cool, even if you're not playing this adventure necessarily. Some of them do more than just the skill proficiencies and a feat. In particular, like Colmad Kohler gives you a bonus against poison and fear. The physician not only gives you battle medicine, but gives you the healer's kit, which I really like that little accessory. I don't think that breaks things too much. I think it's, especially if you're the only healer in the party, it's good to have a healer's kit. Gong Farmer gives you a bonus against disease. There's some like hunter type archetypes. There's one for a falconer and there's one for a master of the hounds that not only gives you the train animal skill feat, but you could start out with either a guard dog or a hawk. Really flavorful, really helps you get into the mindset of the character that you're going to play for this, and gives you a reason to be in this castle at the very beginning of the adventure. Yeah, and there's much more information about Sabanoi and the campaign as a whole in the Game Master's Guide, but I'm not going to go into that till later in the show because, as you could expect, there are a lot of spoilers in there. So if someone here is looking to push their GM into playing this, but you don't want to know everything about the campaign, you could go ahead and, I don't know, mute me toward the end because I will have all the non-spoilerific news and whatnot before then. Now, if you're not quite sure what to play, or you just want more information about what kind of characters could possibly play in this campaign and what the people in this region are like, you should probably also check out the End of Days campaign pre-generated characters. This product introduces 5 ready-to-play characters for any campaign, but especially for the End of Days campaign. These characters include, you got your fighter, you got your rogue, you got your magus, which was an unexpected treat. Gives you some great information about these characters, how they fit in. Frankly, I also see this because, like my group, I have had 1 or 2 people at my personal lodge who enjoy playing pre-gens just because they're just there for the combat. It's fine. But if I was with my current group that I'm playing with online, and they didn't want pre-gens, I would probably ask them. I'd probably ask them not to look at this and take these and just use these as NPCs. Like, this is a great source for NPCs who would be in Castle Savanoi, because you never know when your PCs are going to be like, let's go to the local Crown Tavern and check out what they got. And you want to put more characters in there, you know? There's not always enough characters in an adventure, and while it's fun to come up with them on the fly, sometimes your players will just throw you for a loop, and you'll be like, who's going to be in there? Oh yeah, there's this pre-generated guide. These are some cool PCs. I read through this vaguely once. I could generate these really fast. So that's some great extra detail there, and you know, I really appreciate things like that. In addition to some extra detail, I do want to point out this additional product that frankly could go into any campaign at all, but was tailored for this mega campaign, is the Crown Tavern. The Crown Tavern product gives you some of those screenshots like the one right here, in addition to a wonderful tavern map. Let me pull that up right here so you can take a look. This is the sideways map, and some outside screenshots. There we have it. And a top-down map. And there's also a gridded view and I believe a nighttime or darker map as well. The tavern goes into some detail. There's some detail here about who owns it. There's some box text, some narrative text, so you can tell your players what it's like on the fly. And there's a whole menu here, which I really like that, because more than once, I have been stumped by PCs asking what's on the menu, and I'm just like, bread and grog and soup and bread soup and grog soup and bread grog soup. So it's nice to have those extra details already written out for you and added in there. In addition, there is item cards. The item card book itself has more information about each of these items, but I wanted to show the cards especially. I love the Paizo item cards. I find that without the item cards, most items just go into an inventory of whoever's job it is to keep track of loot and rarely get used. Like, maybe the healing potions will get used, and most everything else just sits in a pile. But when you hand them out on cards, people will actually bother reading what they do and consider using them. It's just what I found is players actually use items when they're on cards. When they're not on cards, they just become another line in a Excel doc, in a Google sheet somewhere that eventually gets turned into gold. So if you like using item cards, this is called Lost Arcana Volume 1. These are items used that you could find throughout the End of Days campaign, which is why I'm mentioning them here. They're pretty, they're cool, they're thematic. And the items themselves are really cool. They could go into all sorts of campaigns. And you get these cards and the book discussing these, I believe, 10 items. So I did also want to bring that up, as that is all part of this huge mega package. Incidentally, and I don't think I did bring this up, there are hints at other products within these books. They talk about other products that will be coming out to help support the campaign, in addition to, of course, the adventures. There are currently 3 adventures. Each of them take you through 1 level. So at the end of the first adventure, you'll be level 2. End of the second adventure, you'll be level 3. All the way up to level 20. So I believe there will be 20 adventures, plus all these extra Lost Arcana maps, all these other really cool accessories that really help bring this campaign to life. Another such accessory is Beasts of Yore, 7 new and horrible beasts. They say horrible, but I think they're really cool. I guess that is the point of beasts, right? All right. So, as you can see, you got these full illustrations that match the screenshots and the other 3D renders here to create a more cohesive campaign. You got some extra backstory beyond what you get in just the adventure. These are really cool monsters. I gotta admit, my personal favorite here, the Wood Evil right here, I'll discuss it during the spoiler section because I believe these will all eventually come up in the campaign, and it does something really cool that kind of ruins it if you already know what it is. So we'll just have to bring it up later. I believe most of these are uncommon and rare, so this isn't the best book for a summoner. Yeah, these are all uncommon, rare, unique. So this isn't a player book. This is definitely a GM book, but it's a good one. I like it. We need more bestiaries. We need more monsters. I love monsters. All right. And with that, I do believe we are on to the spoiler section. But before then, I do want to thank everyone for showing up for this first section in case you decide you want to play this and don't want to see the spoilers. So, thank you very much for showing up. Thank you very much for Paizo for making this dream real, where I get to gush about my favorite third-party products to a wider audience. And thank you, everybody, for all the amazing releases on Pathfinder Infinite, because I want to see more. I want to read more. I want to get and buy and absorb as much Pathfinder stuff as I can, and Starfinder stuff as I can. So, thank you once again, and we will go on now to the spoiler section. So there's a spoiler warning here in case you want to play the End of Days Mega Campaign. Excuse me 1 second. Thank you. All right. So, just wanted to quickly go through some of my favorite highlights from each of these adventures here. And like I said before, there are ways right here at the beginning. They will say one-shot adventure, and where they will discuss how you could do this as a one-shot adventure that might conclude in a different path other than the adventure path, which is great. Just suggestions for how to incorporate this, why your PCs would be in the location, why they'd care about doing the adventure in the first place, despite not being part of this mega 20-level adventure. That's a really, really smart thing to do in any ongoing kind of adventure path campaign, to potentially just make it a one-shot, because a lot of times you'll be like, well, it's called Siege of Castle Savanoy. I might want to run a siege. I might not want to make rules for a siege. I might Google in Pathfinder Infinite siege. There's nothing called siege warfare, but what's this? Siege of Castle Savanoy? I bet there's stuff there that I can incorporate into the game. So there you have it. And there is a lot here that you could incorporate into any castle siege, I gotta tell you. There's, as you can see here, the adventures do use box text, but then you have rules for different positions. You could find different things around the castle to help you stop the siege, to throw things over the edge, to hit people climbing up ladders. There are kind of rules for having all these enemies come up. Like, once you defeat this many enemies, you've broken the siege enough that your characters could go take a break while other people guard the towers. There's chance for resting. It's not just non-stop combat because you are part of a larger force, and it looks like it really makes you feel like it successfully, which that is always the problem in mass combat, and this book looks like it has solved that quite well. I love that the nighttime siege is literally called Night of the Flaming Dead, as they catapult zombies on fire into the castle, which, like, that alone is just so awesome. I shouldn't. I don't have to say anything more than that, right? I mean, catapulting flaming zombies, rules for flaming zombies, pitch-coated zombies burning down the interior of the castle if you don't stop them. That's cool. There's an underground dungeon here to stop sappers from, destroying the wall from underneath the wall. And there's a lot of hooks here for the greater campaign. Major spoilers. The campaign, if you couldn't tell from the Game Master Guide and the name End of Days, is apocalyptic in tone. It starts in just this siege in a castle and this feud between two nobles, but it gets significantly bigger than that as you go up in levels pretty quickly. And there are some, as you can see here, these alien eggs. There's some definitely creepy stuff going on. I love when the first adventures has little hints toward the I love when book 1 has hints to book 6, to say it if I was using Paizo APs, or in this case, I love when book 1 has hints to what's coming in book 18, 19, 20. I really like that a lot. The creatures are varied. You have everything from goblins and hobgoblins and humans to constructs and spiders and aliens, which I always love it when adventures are able to do that in a way that comes off realistically. There's some new monsters here that are kind of thinking outside the box, like this dig excavator robot isn't actually fighting you. It's just you got to stop it, and like it will defend itself while you're trying to disable it. So I think of that as a cool, like, part way between a monster and a hazard. So I do like that a lot. End of Days Part 2, starting at level 2, Dark Days at Castle Savanoy. This one has kind of some necromantic themes. It lets you explore a little bit more into the dynamic behind the politics as to what started this whole war. There's a bit of intrigue going on here. I do love that the Gremlin Brothers, the authors of this campaign, have put the Gremlin Brothers magic shop into the castle, as there's some time here between sieges where your players can run around the castle grounds, checking out the tavern, the magic shop, merchants, just random people around the castle, gather information. Oh, do gotta note, in the Game Master Guide, there is rumors, in addition to the rumors here, which that's always a great way to start investing in your players right off the bat. Trying to remember what else. Okay, so we got more investigation into what started this war. We have some necromantic stuff coming in here. I was really intrigued by the idea of monks that use, what do they call it, undead style. I think that's really cool. A style inspired, a martial arts inspired by undead, and they say that they're going to have a book coming out that will have more information on this style for player characters potentially. But I just think that's really cool, having humanoids who are inspired by the undead movements to inspire their martial arts. That's just really cool. You go down into the tombs and crypts, and there's more rules here for sieges, as there's one big final assault, and rules for this cool ram, which you get a token in the adventure, which is really nice. Nice little translucent PNG token. And there are some really awesome monsters and items in this book. It is an absolutely solid adventure. And then book 3, The Great Escape, leaving out to the greater world beyond this river kingdom, has some... Okay, so this part did blow me away. So there is a MacGuffin. There is a cool magic item, a cool artifact that the players do get a hold of in this adventure. You always have to be a little careful with artifacts this early in an adventurer's career. If there's only one and you have a group of 4 or 5 players, it's always a matter of like, well, who wants this awesome power? We're only going to get one. I don't know, though. In future books, there's only 3 books out. There might be more. What I do love about the design of this magic item is it does something. It's not just an artifact that doesn't do anything in particular, but it's not necessarily something players are going to fight over. Absolutely genius move that shows the care they put into this adventure is the item gives you item bonuses to saving throws. Starts out with just very specific saving throws, so it doesn't stack with resilient armor, which is totally a function. Like, it does make it so that, like, you'll be splitting gold a little weird between each other, but it also makes it so that the person who gets a hold of that artifact isn't just going to be the star of the show while the rest of the PCs feel like they're backing him up. I love that. I absolutely love that. There's some beautiful catacombs and cisterns in here, tons of screenshots of each of these rooms and information about each of these rooms. There's some great traps. I love confusion hazards. If you have to have a hazard with no monsters in the room, you can make it a confusion hazard. And the fact that it gives you visions that help you further in the campaign, or further in the adventure at least, it's just great. It's just awesome. I love that, love that, love that. Other thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was really, really clever is at one point in this book, you do come upon a steamship. You need it to escape. They made it technically a hazard to get the engine running, which is really clever and neat. There's some combat going on around the same time too. But if you want to escape, you got to get this engine running, but it could hurt you as you get it running. So it's a hazard, but it's not one that you could just take an adamantine war club to and break into pieces, because you need that boat. You don't want to destroy your new steamboat, but it is dangerous, which does add to that very Galarian feel of, yeah, there's steamboats, like there's technology, but if you don't know what you're doing, you might be better off just walking. Although in this case, it might be difficult because it's water. All right. So overall, I do really, really, let me go back here to the beginning. All right. I really, really, really love this campaign. It's cool. It's great, honestly, for new GMs, old GMs, new players, old players. It has a wide range. There's a lot you could do to expand upon it if you don't feel like it interests you quite enough. It's not as on the rails as some campaigns might be. Just to try to put that nicely, it is fairly open-ended, and it does give the players a very good reason to go do the adventure. In every case, it is very much, you're in a castle, you all live there, it's being attacked, you're going to defend it, right? It gives you very, 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 very good reasons for doing this. And I'm just noticing now that I don't think the chat is moving for me, but that's fine. All right, so so I think that is what I got here. This is the End of Days mega campaign by the Gremlin Brothers. It is a compilation of 9 different books, I believe, are out right now for it. Toward the end, there will be at least 30, if you include the one that has been hinted at, and the other 17 adventures. So if you are looking for a great fan-made, third-party, I should say not fan-made, but third-party, published adventure from Pathfinder Infinite, right now, this is your way to go. It's well done. It's fun. I can't wait to hear some great stories about this campaign. And, of course, all the other awesome products that we have on Pathfinder Infinite that I will be reviewing here every week at 4 o'clock Pacific. So whether you're watching me on my channel, on the official Paizo channel, YouTube, or Facebook, please, 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 please come back next week and have a great time enjoying all these awesome products and getting a preview of all the great material we have available on Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite. Until then, make sure to remember you have hero points, roll lots of 20s, and remember, retreating is always an option. Have yourself a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.